All right, guys, and we are live. So thank you to everyone. Welcome to this month's 30 Under 30 live chat. For those who don't know me, my name is Emily Birds. I am the NSCA Marketing Coordinator and 30 Under 30 Program Liaison here this month with some great folks to talk about differentiation as today's topic. And today we are led by alumni moderator Grant Findlay, who is with the New York Red Bulls Academy. Grant, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Emily.
All right, great. And our panelists this week are a great bunch of folks. First up, we've got Jackie Loeffler from Eden Prairie Soccer Club up in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. How you doing, Jackie?
Good. Hi, Emily.
Great. Well, so glad you're on. Next, we've got Tarr out from Vancouver, Washington, who's with the Washington Timbers FC and Clark College. How you doing, Kat?
Good, Emily. Thanks for having me on.
All right, fantastic. Next, we've got Rachael Cooper, who's with Bacone College down in Oklahoma. How you doing, Rachael?
Great. Happy to be here.
Fantastic. And finally, we've got Troy McKerrell, who is here in Kansas City. He's with FC Kansas City, the NWSL club here, as well as STB Academy. How you doing, Troy?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Emily.
All right, fantastic. So, all right, well, we'll just jump into the conversation. Obviously, any of our viewers, feel free to comment with any questions you have for this group as we go along, and we will see if we can get them answered. But let's jump in. So, Grant, take it away.
All right, guys. So, obviously, today we're going to talk about the topic of differentiation. So the first question we're going to look at is simply, what does differentiation mean to you, and why do you think it's important? So, to get us started, we'll start with yourself, Rachael.
Hi, Grant, and so what does it mean to me? So I coach an NAIA level college program. We get a wide variety of players. We reach out to high level players, and then we get some players that come from different cultures and backgrounds. And for me, I've got to be able to relate to those different players and different levels of players. And how I do that, I try to treat each individual player based on how I can reach them. Their personality, their ability on the field, their mentality, and even emotional state dictate how I talk to them and how we interact. Some players are comfortable in group environments, some are not. I strive to be fair, and fair, though, is relative in some cases. Each player is different, and some respond better in different scenarios.
Okay, good. What about yourself, Troy? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, for me, same sort of line. You need to be able to relate to the players that you're actually coaching. For myself, I've got a wide variety from coaching the professional ladies to then changing my mindset on the training field to coaching club kids that are just under the academy level.
Okay, good. And Jackie, why is differentiation important to you?
So I'm at the youth level, and I have a lot of 11 and 12-year-old kids is what my focus is. And it's really important to make sure that you're catering to like all levels, especially when you're doing like a large group setting. And if you're not like aware of the differences in the players' abilities and levels, it's not gonna want those kids to improve and strive to do more for you.
Okay, and then finally, Kat, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with everybody and their thoughts. It's similar to a classroom, right? You've got a number of children or older, college aged, even at the professional level. You've got different people from different backgrounds. They're coming in with a different knowledge base. And as a teacher and a mentor, you got to be able to find a way to reach as many of them and get them, as far along in their education as possible. And so it's about that individualization. It's finding different ways of learning, and it's catering to all the needs in one group, because reality is we don't get the same player across the board. We're getting, certainly a diverse group of people, and we have to be able to reach all of their needs as best as possible.
Absolutely. And just staying with yourself, Kat, do you have a real life example of when you've applied differentiation and what was the effect on the players?
Yeah, so I've got, an example that comes to mind is I have a 04 girls team. So that's 12 and 13-year-old girls. Everyone's aware that, we had that age group change within the club level. And so I had 4 different club teams from 4 different areas come together. You have January born, 12-year-olds, you've got 13-year-olds, you've got players born in December. Especially within that age group, you've got a vast change in their size, and there's different confidence levels. They're in middle school, which provides a totally complex social part. And so when I got this group of players who, again, were across the board very different in their own individual way, I started to realize that I had to tailor my trainings to meet some of their needs. So an example would be a 1v1 training. Before training, I make sure to look at each of the players, and some of them are going to need, more mentorship and more coaching. Some of them, are very confident in 1v1s and can go to goal and like to have the freedom and don't like a lot of coaching. And so usually with the numbers I have, I'll set up 2 groups. Some of the bigger players that are stronger and like to do those 1v1s, I usually set them up against each other so that they're being pushed and they have a good experience in the 1v1s. And then the second group might be some of our earlier born players. They might be smaller. They might have had some confidence issues in the past. They might need a little bit more coaching in the 1v1. And so I'll put them in that group. Maybe in the first group, we might put a 50-50 ball set that they're constantly tackling it. They're constantly, having that battle and they like that. And then the second group, I might be in there and I might be playing the balls to certain players. If one player is struggling a ton, I might manipulate that environment more. I might play her the ball so she does get time on the ball. I might have the defenders put only 50% pressure on to start so that they can build the confidence, so that they can get the touches, they can get the shots on goal that they want to get. And so I'm very keen on, especially in those 1v1s, on having the grouping, because I think it provides everybody that top level training that they need. It gets them, to understand the basics and the foundations of 1v1, but it's not one player getting completely smashed by another player constantly. And that doesn't do anything for the player who's confident in the 1v1, and that doesn't do anything for the player who obviously needs to build the skill and needs to have more time on the ball. So that for me would be probably the best example off the top of my head.
Good. So adaptation and individual basis.
Yeah.
Good. Good. And Jackie, what's your thoughts?
I agree with Kat. As far as just like being aware of your players' like abilities and making sure that you're creating a training session that will definitely challenge every player, but not overwhelm them to the point where you're getting one player's totally like taken out of the game. So you're still emphasizing all the points you wanted to make in your session. You're just catering more so to some players than others, but they're still learning the same coaching points that you may have.
Excellent. Okay, we'll swing it back to yourself, Troy. What's your real life experience?
Yeah, I like that challenge. For me, I see it on a weekly basis. I actually have a young girl in my U13 and U14 teams. She's the girl on a boys team. So for me, the boys at that age are starting to develop more physically than the girl. So I always have to account for making my activities relatable to her needs, but also the rest of the team's needs, so that it's just not the pure physical ability that's overriding her good technique. Good.
And Rachel, we'll finish with yourself. What's your real life experience and what was the effect on the players?
Okay, so I'll take it a little bit of a different direction, talking a little bit about culture. I've got girls that come in from different parts of the country, even some international players, and communication has been a real life challenge that we've faced just based on their different backgrounds. Some of these players have maybe less experience in areas of accountability. So when we're communicating and I try to talk in person, we try to communicate by email. And sometimes I would run into some challenges. I wouldn't get my message across. And so I'd have to reach out to these players and say, what's the best way for us to communicate and reach out? And then I get to the culture and their age difference to me, though only 10 or 12 years younger, they use different modes of communication. So I'm having to download apps on my phone and do different things to reach them. And it's been a learning curve, but I've been able to reach them, but also teach them different ways to communicate, maybe a more professional way. Most of my professional communication is limited to email and phone. Very rarely do anything professionally outside of those two modes. And so teaching them not only can I reach you in this way, but can you reach me also, and learn that in your professional life outside of this game, when you leave the school, you're going to have other ways that you need to communicate. And so trying to reach them, but then also teach them at the same time.
Good, excellent. So a full array of experiences there. Moving on to the third question, we'll start with yourself, Troy. What role does modelling play in successfully applying or execution differentiation?
Okay, so for modelling, I think about visual and demonstration cues. For me, and I mean for a lot of people, visual learning is one of the biggest best. So when I break it down, I think about, can I either use the freeze coaching method to freeze it, demonstrate to the kids, and then let them play from there, or if I can't perform the skill myself, or if it's an older coach who can't perform the skill themselves, can they get one of their players to give a demonstration so that all the other kids can see? Because like we touched on a little bit earlier, nowadays you've got apps where you can put a session plan on, you can write down 101 X's and O's, but that could be confusing for a lot of kids, and some kids might not understand it. So the ability to actually give a good demonstration out on the training pitch, I think, is vital.
Excellent. What about yourself, Kat? Can you elaborate on that?
To be honest, he kind of broke out a little bit. Could you ask the question again?
Yeah, so, sorry, okay. The role of modelling and successfully applying differentiation. Do you have any experience in regards to that?
Yeah, so, with especially with the younger players, breaking down a move, doing a scissor versus a step over, which can be confusing because some of them come from different cultures where a scissor is a step over and a step over is something different. So a lot of the times, my husband's from Germany and a scissor is not what I call a scissor. You've got to show him what it looks like. And so that we're all on the same page, and that when we talk about things and when we talk about different moves and turns, and there could be a million different names in these different moves terms, that we all know what it visually looks like. And tactically speaking too, visually showing what it looks like to move the ball across the field and demonstrating that with them and painting the picture so that the visual learners can see it. Because again, there's a number of different ways that these children learn. Some of them are visual, some of them like to hear it. Some of them need to see a tactics board for some of the tactical things, and they need to move the tactics board themselves. And so you want to make sure, using all of those outlets so that you're reaching each of these learning models. And demonstration, certainly at the younger ages, in my belief, is one of the most important.
Good. So teaching styles, learning styles, and culture as well.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Rachel? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm on board with both of those responses. I think everybody learns differently, and you want to try to reach each player the best way that they can learn, and try different methods. I mean, some player may respond well to the coach modeling. Some player may respond well to them actually demoing. So I like to have the players, some of them demo. Players really strong, and maybe a 1v1 situation, I'll have them demo, so that the other players feel comfortable. I try to get them in there and get involved. I want to build their confidence out there. If they can't try it in training, they're definitely not going to try it in the game. And so I think having them do it, me demonstrating it, getting it on the board, like Kat said, I think all those things definitely help it reach all those different players.
Excellent. And then just to wrap up, Jackie, what are you thinking?
I don't have anything else to build off of that. I just think it's really important that you're using different styles, so you're not just like stuck to one, and be open-minded to the needs and the concerns of your players and what they want and need.
Okay, good. And Jackie, what are you? What's your opinion on the cons or the negatives of differentiation? Do you think there are any?
As far as like cons for the players, I don't think there's necessarily a con for the player. I think the cons would come into like a coach con, like the coach would think that it's not beneficial, it may be too time consuming. They may not have the time to, they think they may not have the time to create different options and outlets, building into their progression and stuff. The other concern would be the coach may not know how many players actually need extra, the extra training to catch up to the rest, or like what point do you start separating out the progressions to cater to some of the kids, and when do you continue to move forward? So more so like from a coach perspective, like the only con I could see would be more for the coach would think it's a negative to cater to all the different players in your team.
Okay, and Kat, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that one of the points that she just hit was that to really truly apply differentiation in your training environments, you need constant assessment. You have to constantly be watching your players in training. Some of them are going to sprout 2 inches in a few weeks, and they're going to be a different player than they were a few weeks ago. Some of them are going to have some things happen at home, and they're going to suffer maybe some confidence issues. It's constantly evolving because life is constantly evolving and life is constantly changing for our players just as it is for us. And so as a coach, you have to be always analyzing and always speaking to your players and having open dialogue and letting them know that they can come to you for anything, so that you can continue to build and continue to find ways to teach each player. And it's not an easy task, but it's certainly something everybody can build on as a coach. And I think that some of the best coaches in the world have learned to master it. And that's why they get the most out of all of their players and get that total buy-in and that culture. So that's something I think we can all strive towards as young coaches in the 30 under 30 program.
Okay, excellent. And then we'll go with yourself, Rachel. What do you think?
No, I'm on board with all of that, and I think even in the youth game, you have to make sure that there's buy-in. When you're constantly evaluating players, those players and their parents have to be bought in the program that you're trying to do. You're trying to build this individual relationship with these players and do what's best for them. Even the player at the bottom of the age group, for example, you have to be able to reach that player just like you're reaching the player at the top. But that player at the top may need to move up an age group maybe to play and compete. And if that's the case, does it hurt the team's success rate? And then you get into the discussion of winning versus success and what's right for those individual players, and trying to keep that very clear to not only your players but your parents, and keeping them on board, because I think that does become a problem in some of our societies today. Winning does take precedence sometimes over or trying to focus on those individual players.
Okay, excellent, thank you. And finally, Troy, do you think there's any negatives to differentiation or adapting your sessions?
Yeah, just like everybody else has said, I would say that there's not really any negatives or cons. It's just more of a challenge, challenge from the coaching staff all the way through to the players. How can you, as a coach or as a player, have goals that are reachable and achievable, so that you have success and strive and move forward? But yeah, I wouldn't say there's really any cons. It's more just a challenge, in my opinion. Okay, good.
So we spoke a lot about the age, ability, the mentality, the gender and the culture of the players within sessions. So to wrap it up, I just want to ask you guys, do you think it's possible to apply differentiation to a game day setting? And if so, how? And do you have an experience of that as well? So Rachel, we're going to ask this question to yourself first.
Okay, great. Yes, I've thought a little bit about this, and I think that I do apply it. During our warm-up period, for example, I give the girls an hour to 2 hours prior to the game to kind of get ready. And so part of the warm-up is very controlled, and I dictate what we do and how we prepare. But there is a part of the warm-up that I allow the players to warm up freely on their own and how they want. So like the first 15 minutes or so is really based on them. I've got some players that prefer some sort of isolation, and they train with headphones on, and they start getting stretched out and warmed up. Some girls do more of a group warm up. Once that time is over, then we do some team type stuff. And I think that does allow them some freedom in how they want to prepare, but it also allows us to come together at the end as a team in preparation for the game time.
Okay, excellent. Kat, we'll go back to you.
Yeah, I think that, you know, with our warm-ups in the youth and in the college game, you want to have some feedback from your players and what are their interests? How do they like to get ready? Just like she said, ways that maybe as a coach you can't necessarily meet. And so I let our captains, whoever the team has voted in as leaders, start the warm-ups, and they get together as a group. And they do whatever they feel they need to do for that day. Maybe it's a really cold day and they want to do more running and, you know, dynamic movements. Maybe they're feeling really good to goal and they want to kind of get to goal sooner than later. So I let the players drive their own warm-up. They're the ones about to get on the field and play in the match. And I think that taking the coach out of it and putting it onto the players, especially the younger ones, they feel an empowerment. And so I've seen great results in that.
Okay, excellent. And then finally, back to yourself, Jackie, if you can just wrap it up for us.
Yeah, I think for the game day differentiation, it's big part is the warm up. Even at the youth level, I think that if you can't get especially the young ones, if you can't get them engaged, they're not going to want to play. They don't get mentally ready. They're not focused. They're going to be all over the place. So if you can get activities going for them that they enjoy right off the bat, whether it's necessarily like super game focused, but just more so like a game activity, a small game, mini game, just to get them engaged, it's going to better the team as a whole and let them do it at their pace and sometimes let them choose and stuff. So just getting them involved.
Good, excellent. So giving the players some ownership as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fantastic.
All right, well, this has been a fantastic discussion. I am so glad we were all able to get on today and to talk about this great topic. I'm sure we could keep on chatting about it, and I'm sure there's many facets to this. Obviously, we encourage any of our viewers to comment with your thoughts and ideas in the comment section. We can start a discussion there as well. But today, I thank all of you guys for being on. Thank you to Grant for leading this discussion, and of course to Jackie, Kat, Rachel, and Troy for your great thoughts. We hope you'll join us again next month on April 12th for our next 30 under 30 live chat as we keep discussing these great topics within the game today. So we hope you'll stick around and keep watching. And obviously, feel free to check out anything else on our YouTube channel and our website as we have new exciting things coming out every week. So we appreciate you guys hopping on, and I appreciate all of you guys for taking part. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, Emily.